Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica podcast, episode number 195. On tonight's agenda, we will look back at the Boavista game. We'll also look at the Champions League drawing, and we have a couple guests here that we'll get into some Benfica talk. Nelson is here. You're used to hearing him on the halftime headlines every week, but he's here live today. Nelson, what's going on, bro?
How you doing, guys? It's a pleasure to be here as always. With well, you'll introduce our guest. So.
And Sergio já foste.
Hey, what's going on,
Is
everybody? I want to just introduce things first, my eagle. Look at that. My eagle with the wine. Yeah, look at this. My lucky. I've had this for about 5 years, and I've had two titles, hopefully going on 3 so far. I promised myself and my friend back at the bar that we'd drink this bottle if we become tres campeões. So hopefully next month we're gonna cork this.
I got to be honest with you. I don't get the eagle thing, man. Neil has an eagle too. I don't know. I don't have any eagles at home, to be honest with you. I don't get it.
If it wasn't for my wife, the thing would be upstairs. She does not like the sight of that at all. I keep reminding her though. This is a good luck charm.
That doesn't go with the decor at all.
Did you see the Benfica flag I hung up in the background?
But that's good. That's good.
She's gonna kill me when she gets home. She sees that.
That's not, wait, so that's not a normal fixture on the wall?
No, of course not.
No.
And also, Cristiano Oliveira is here. What's going on, Cristiano?
Como é que é, senhoras?
Epa.
Cristiano just in the nick of time as I was introducing everybody. Better late than never, and you always got perfect timing if you want to do it.
It's flat or low?
No, it's low.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Estás no bar ou o que é que estás a fazer?
The streets of New York again. Look at this.
I'm leaving the restaurant. What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today?
Good.
All right, Chris.
Guys,
right, so-
you tell me I got a flat tire. Holy shucks.
That's not good, man.
I'm driving off with it anyway. I don't care.
So
You
what
got-
you're saying
You got
is
those run flats.
What are we talking about?
All right, Boavista recap,
Hey,
Champions League drawing, and whatever else we could come up with.
are we live or are we still like in
We
pre-
lives.
Yeah,
We lives. We lives, Cristiano. So be on your best behavior, please.
Always.
We can.
All
There's
right.
no redos.
Let's look back at this weekend's very emotional, very tense game against Boavista at the Bessa in a mini, what could be described as a mini Stadio de Luz. I remember that one grandstand behind one of the goals. It was all red. Quite an incredible sight. But I've seen a bunch of videos of people that took during the game, and the stadium was pretty much all red. I'll give you the lineup: Ederson, Semedo, Samaris, Lindelof, and Eliseu across the back. Almeida, Renato, Salvio and Pizzi on the wings. Jonas and Jimenez up front. So, no Fesa. Seems to be injured again. Samaris dropped down into the center back. Lisandro, it was projected, and I think he made the convocados list if I'm not mistaken. It was projected that he could start or did be available, but apparently he wasn't 100%, so Rui Vitória went with Samaris. Almeida dropped in the middle, which was something that I don't know, not a lot of people like that, and I think that think that affected the game somewhat. But here's the thing, and I'll set this up, and I'll go to you guys. With half the team pretty much gone, I mean, you're looking at Júlio César, Luizão, Jardel, Fesa, Gaetan, and Mitroglou, all usual starters. With half of them gone, it's expected that there's going to be a little bit of a drop in performance. Sergio, what'd you think, man?
I agree. I think we definitely were shortchanged a little bit, especially in the back. Unfortunately, with Samaris out back, we struggled a little bit. But he struggled at the beginning. I think that early yellow card really did him in. A little bit of nerves there, but we struggled also in the middle with Alfeja. And the make-up was a disaster. We couldn't win any ball. But it just seemed like Boavista was on top of us the whole time. Like they were just pressuring us and trying to throw us off our game, and we couldn't even connect the pass early on. So it was a little frustrating for sure, and the nerves started to show in the team for sure.
Yeah, and another start, Salvio gets his start in forever, and Nelson, in my opinion, it doesn't look like he's ready to start.
No, he actually looks a little heavy going in. He looks like just kind of a huskier version of himself, and that's just down to game rhythm. That's down to fitness. You can kind of almost see it in his face. He doesn't have that explosive 1v1. However, he did take a guy on last week, it was, and he beat a guy right on the touchline. And that was kind of impressive to see that. But that's just little tiny glimmers. There's no he's not beating guys on a consistent basis. But, I mean, it's going to be expected. I mean, he's almost kind of forced into the lineup now where we've been seeing him come in the last 20, 30 minutes to fill in for a little bit of change of pace. But you could see, by second half, he's exhausted. He's not used to it.
My point, Cristiano, is why not give the start to Gedge?
Opa, I think he tried to give Salvio some burn. I think Salvio came off the bench last week. wasn't terrible. He sparked the team a little bit, and this was a very tough road match. And he wanted a guy that could maybe spread the field out a little bit more, a guy that could beat guys one-on-one, create on his own. And I think he decided to go with the veteran over the youngster. I mean, let's be realistic, guys. Let's be honest. Geddes has not been impressive over the last 3 months. Yes, he comes off the bench. He might do one or two two good things, but not that he's coming in and tearing the world apart. He looks like he's lost his confidence. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he hasn't gotten many minutes of late, but still, we're not talking about a guy that changes the game. So I had no problem at all with Salvio starting. I think the upside with Salvio is a lot more. I think what he offered coming into this game, even though he's not fit. Yes, you guys have touched it that he's not beating guys one-on-one like we're accustomed to seeing. But that's because he's also has no game rhythm. I mean, the guy missed 8 or 9 months of action. So it's going to take him a while to get back to his old self, but I have absolutely no problem with it. It didn't work out. He made the subs that he needed to make. It wasn't pretty, but, we accomplished what we went out to get, which was the 3 points.
And Cristiano, your homeboy Pizzi was on again.
On again? On what? On crack. On again. I mean, that's a guy that I know a lot of you people are impressed by the little things that he does. And, yes, he does a lot of good things in the middle of the park. The subtle touches. He beats guys with nice, simple passes at times. But majority of the time, like I've said plenty of times, he gets into the offensive third, and it's like the guy draws a blank. It's like, oh, crap, I forgot how to play. What do I do now? I see him killing a lot of counters. I see him killing a lot of Benfica's attacks. Maybe I know you mentioned it on Twitter, Alfredo, that maybe he needs to sit a game or two, and I'll totally be in favor of that. I mean, I think he needs to sit down, but like you guys mentioned right before I started talking, it's not like we have many better options at this point. So I'm not in favor of sitting him as much as I was going into last week, because right now, based on what I saw from Salvio and Geddes, I don't think any of those guys are ready to step in and play over Pizzi right now. So. I guess you got to take the good with the bad. Hopefully, something, will spark another great outing from, because he did play well for a good 10 games. The guy was doing his thing, and then after a while, it's like,
yeah.
Crap.
He did seem.
Essa merda faz mal ao coração e aos pulmões, cara.
And then Cristiano's doing PSAs. Anyway, but what I wanted to touch up on Almeida in the middle, and Almeida is definitely not suited for that defensive midfield position. That position without Fesa, it seems that we've struggled a lot without having Fesa there, and I know that he gets hurt a lot. But here's out of the 18 goals that we've suffered, only 3 of them came with Fesa on the field. I know that he's not there a lot, but regardless, that's still quite an impressive game. I would an impressive record. I would have to look at see how many games that's tabulated with Fesa as a starter, because he hasn't started. I would say maybe he started a third of the games in the season. What do you guys think? Sergio?
I think so. I think I mean, he clearly is a big difference in the middle because, look at the game a couple weeks ago against Zenit, right? Like, he was just a monster. He was the best game. He was the best player in that game. He won so many tackles, many balls. I mean, the guy was a monster. So, is there a difference night and day? Oh, definitely. And it just seems like Samaris doesn't fit into the structure or the tactics of Rui Vitória like he did last year with George Jesus. So there is a big difference between Feja and Samaris whenever either one of them play, for sure.
Yeah.
See, this
sure.
is one of the instances I got a little ticked off at Rui Vitória. Why invent and pull André Almeida? André Almeida can play right back. You don't pull him at center mid. Come on, dude. The dude's shot. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that at all. Now, if you're going to tell me that Lisandro wasn't ready, I kind of understand it a little bit more. But if he's not ready, why even have him on the bench? And if he's not ready to go, just let him sit in the bench. He podia ter convocado my boy to rap the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Your boy was convocado. He just went to the stands.
The convocado to me, if you're not in the 18, you're not in the convocado. You know what I mean? The guy went for a bus ride. Hey, tá bom. Good thing. That don't mean nothing. You guys knew for convocado. But no, on a serious note though, if Lisandro's not 100% fit, why even have him on the bench? I mean, you have him there. Basically, you telling me if you need to use him, you're going to use him. So why not use him? Why have to adapt? Somebody's at a center back position. Yes, he played well against Zenit. Hats off to him. He played well. He wasn't terrible. Which, like I said before, he started off the game looking shaky, but he turned it around. He played a really good game from the center back position.
Yeah.
But still, he had to adapt once again. And then you put in a guy that hasn't played center mid since last year against Sporting? Another guy that had to adapt to that position. You have two guys adapting. Why? Why do that? I didn't like that move at all. And Almeida did absolutely nothing. So
yeah,
well, he played him. He played him against Porto in the Dragão, didn't he? And he didn't play well at all at the Dragão. So I don't know why Rui Vitória insisted on playing and then Almeida again in the middle.
I think he works well if you have to bring another guy, another defensive midfielder as you're defending the result. He's pretty good in occupying spaces and defending. But as far as the transition that you need from that guy, you oftentimes saw him drop into the defense and somebody's bring the ball up to build up game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back a couple of years ago, that's what we had from, what was it? This is the guy who went to Zenit, the Argentine center back, Garay. We used to see that a lot from Garay.
Yeah.
Just move the ball forward. But this team is differently structured now. It's not set for somebody to be doing that. You'd see him a lot of times come forward. And André Almeida is not that type of guy. I mean, we see him barely be productively offensive from the right back spot. Now you're moving so many pieces around the rest of the team. It doesn't make sense. I'd keep André Almeida there at right back, especially with the team who you know is going to have 9, 10, 11 guys behind the ball. You don't need that. And to put André Almeida at defensive midfield is just it's a very uncreative spot, especially when a lot of times we're playing a 2v3 in that midfield. It doesn't make sense. He couldn't really make a good pass. He just didn't show well for me. It wasn't a good fit for that spot.
No, I'm with you. And I got to be honest with you guys. I was watching this game, and the way Benfica was playing and not creating anything, and the way Boavista was playing, I really didn't. I saw this thing ugly. This thing was getting ugly.
Yeah. Very,
very ugly. And I remember Cristiano started texting me, and Cristiano and I traded a few texts, and he was saying, "Está uma miséria. It's ugly. It's ugly." And I just kept going back and forth with him, and it was ugly. I didn't think we were going to pull this off. And I said, here's our game. Here's the game that we're going to lose to Sporting, and Sporting going to take over.
This game reminded me so much of that Paços Ferreira game last year. It's unbelievable. Like, it was just so frustrating watching it and thinking, oh, God, we're going to drop points. Especially a goal attempt by Luizinho close to the end where it just went to the side. That almost killed me. I thought we were going to suffer right there. But it wasn't a pretty game at all. Now, leave it up to a crack like Carcel to come in and make the difference.
Yeah, but even Boavista, there was as we came forward looking to create some kind of a chance, Boavista started attacking us on a counter, and a couple times they came very close.
Yeah,
very, very close. So, guys, just talk me into this. and you guys all watched the game. So desperation, but still a belief at the end. And then you see that ball going in. You see Carcella drop it to Jonas, and you're thinking, Jonas ain't gonna miss this. What?
Yeah.
And I'll start with you, Nelson. What was your reaction when you saw that play develop?
Man, at first I thought I wasn't sure who really crossed the ball in. I wasn't sure because I remember it being played from the back left, and I thought, what is Eliseo throwing the ball up that far for? And then I realized it was Garcella. And when I saw that ball drop, at first Jonas has his back to goal, and he's kind of looking up at the ball, and he's so good at the little things, something that a veteran striker knows really how to do. So he lures the defender into pressing up against them, and he lets the ball drop, and he turns. And when he fires it, man, Mika's stomach must have dropped to the floor because he knew as soon as Jonas hits that ball, it's going across his body. He's putting it in the one place Mika can't get down to, which is the big problem with tall keepers. They can't get down fast enough. It hits the back of the net, and I start screaming like an idiot, and I lose my voice.
And Sergio, I know that you were at the Casa do Benfica in Toronto, and I kind of seen some videos. What was that? What was that moment like over there at the Casa do Benfica?
You know what? Let me tell you, it's up there. It's up there with one of the best moments, especially up there, second to only to Sporting, beating Sporting a couple weeks ago. It was all a blur right now because I'll tell you, definitely desperation at that point, and I had to go look back afterwards onto the video to realize that at the beginning of the play, it was Jonas who started it all by winning the ball back in the midfield, passing it back to Renato, who then passed it to Luzil, who then punted it down to Carcella, and then he headed it towards Jonas for the goal. So again, credit to Jonas.
He flicked it on. He didn't head her. He flicked it.
You know what? When it comes to a crack like
the guy
Carcella,
put his head to it.
It's vision. What a crack that guy is.
Yeah, but
when that went in, let me tell you, that whole place exploded. We went on top of chairs. We went on top of tables. I almost fell off a table. Everyone thought that we had just won the title at that moment. It was just an unbelievable, insane moment. And we had friends at the stadium at that time, and we saw a couple of videos afterwards. It was just pandemonium in the stadium at that time. So I can only imagine. It was crazy at the bar where we were at. It was probably 10 times worse at the stadium, witnessing that, in the 92nd minute. So,
yeah. Cristiano, I know you watched the game.
Yeah, I watched the game. I pretty much conceded to the fact that we were going to lose this game. I know Benfiquistas, you stick through it and you always believe until the end. And some of you will criticize me for this, but I got to be honest. I just said, man, you know what? Já foram dois pontos para caralho. And we were lucky not to be down at that point. I thought it was a very ugly game. I thought Boavista were the better side in the second half by far. And sometimes it's a little bit, it's better to be, lucky than good at times. And over the last last month or so, luck's been on our side a lot more than anything else. So, I'm thankful for it, but it was a very ugly performance, guys. Let's not try to give these guys too much credit. The fact we played Boavista, a team that's got maybe 3 first division players on it, that's what really helped us out. Man, get inside, be quiet. That's what really helped us out. Was the fact that it was Boavista. We played a little bit better team. There's no way in hell we'd walk away with the 3 points there.
Yeah, it was tough. But Cristiano, playing with half of your starters out, it was a very good win.
Oh, it was. That's a great point. We're missing key players. Nico Gaitan, he could tell his magic was missing. Feja in the midfield covered this already. No Feja, no party. Lisandro, you have Samaris who's had an off year at center back. Yeah, I agree with you. Semedo looked like he was rusty a little bit. There was nothing that Benfica did well in this game, with the exception of the fact that they believed until the very last second and able to capitalize on the very last chance of the game. But not too many positives to take away from this game, guys. Not at all. And I'm sorry that sometimes I'm always a Debbie Downer, but I watched this game and just depressed because it was ugly. It was ugly.
Estrelinha de campeão, as they say.
Esse Dani Carvalho do caralho. Oh, buddy. I hate Dani Carvalho. Oh, man. It was... You know what? You guys have to watch that video online of... I guess they watched the games on TVI,
I watched a
And
couple. There was a couple of them.
Yeah.
There was one with Dani and Diamantino, and
Yeah.
there was another one on another channel, and they were all happy already. And then Benfica scored.
they were just drilling Benfica, just drilling them, saying they were crap. And you know what? Everybody around the world was saying the same thing. They were just drilling, and then all the antis were just piling on. And then it was like, goal to Benfica. Oh, buddy, Danny just wanted to cry at that moment. Oh, so funny.
And to be fair, Jonas had perhaps one or two chances, and this is the one that he put away. Maybe this was the one clear one that we created for him. But that's the big difference between world class players, difference makers, and guys that are just forwards. You know, you get paid well, and you score when it matters, and that's.
I was watching the game. I was watching the game at a bar, and I'm gonna tell you, man. You had to see the look on these Sportingistas. I don't know what's pissing me off more, the fact that Benfica were about to drop points or the fact that these Lagartos were all excited. You had to see the smile, cheesy-ass smile from ear to ear. And then when Jonas put that through, the place erupted, and these guys, you could tell it was like a balloon just losing all its hair right there. And they left. And I left with a big-ass smile on my face as well.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
That worked out tremendously in our favor. So huge win for us. We now have a break for international fixtures that come up. I think Portugal plays this Friday and then Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, with the
Yes.
Yeah.
Tuesday's supposed to be against Belgium, guys.
Yeah.
Which we all know what happened today in Brussels.
Right.
We don't know if that game will be postponed. We don't know if that game will be moved to Portugal. It's a little bit too early right now to determine to talk about what's going to go on with that game. But yeah, they play Friday and Thursday. As far as Benfica, this break could not have come at a better time. Gaetan's injury, a lot of guys could recoup. A lot of guys are getting a lot of minutes of late. And this is a perfect timing for Benfica to recoup some of these players and have them ready for Braga, which should be mentioned. Braga was scheduled to originally play Benfica on Sunday. But like our good friend Patrick Kendrick had stated on Twitter
What are you doing, man?
a couple weeks ago, he stated that expect that game to be moved forward to a Friday rather than Sunday because both teams will be playing European competitions. Nothing that Lagartos know anything about that, but this is all about Braga and Benfica.
Yeah.
So like Patrick said, he was right on. Credit to him, but yeah, Benfica expected to play that Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right. April Fool's Day. That's when Benfica will play Braga, and as Cristiano has mentioned, both teams in European competitions. So both have agreed to play early. Braga, I think, most likely will play Thursday, as Europa League usually plays on. Benfica, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Do you guys know that off the top?
for sure.
All right, so Benfica will play Tuesday against Bayern. They'll travel to Germany to play Bayern. But before we move on to the next topic, I'll just give you what's left in Benfica's season. We have Braga at home. We have Académica away. Then we're home to Setúbal, away to Rio Ave, home to Guimarães, away to Marítimo, and home to finish off the season to Nacional. I'll give you Sporting's too because I think that it kind of relates. They have Belenenses away, which comes up on the weekend of Braga. Then they home to Marítimo, away to Moreirense, home to União de Madeira, away to Porto, home to Setúbal, and away to Braga to finish off the league year. So we're hoping not to lose any points until then, as Sporting still has two very difficult games in Porto and Braga. So we just need to keep on. That's what it comes down to. Let's Nelson, you want to do the halftime headlines now, and then we'll go on to the Champions League thing?
Sure.
You need intro music? I'll beatbox.
You can. Time headlines. And this week we kick off by talking about our head coach, Rui Vitoria. The ex-Guimarães trainer was brought in the summer to fill a managerial vacancy. He now holds the head coach holding record for Benfica for the most consecutive away victories in the club's illustrious history. The previous best was 10 in a row by Jimmy Hagan in the 72-73 season. Nas internacionalidades. 11 of Benfica's first team members were called up to their country's international duties. Samaris, Mitroglou, Lindelof, Nelson Semedo, Musal Guedes, Luka Jovic, Ederson, Jonas, Raul Jimenez, Eliseu, and Renato will all represent the club on a worldwide scale. And good luck to all the participants. And finally, with the title within arm's reach, but still a hill climb away, we momentarily turn our attention to the Champions League once again. And to quote the great Luís Franco Bastos, muito azar neste sorteio, apanhar o melhor clube do mundo é mesmo balde de água fria nas aspirações do Bayern. And that's all for this week.
Yeah, I think good job. I think a lot of people are making light of the situation with Bayern. I think that there's a lot of people out there that they have a little glimmer of hope. Of course, for me and Cristiano, which follows international soccer quite a bit, Cristiano knows that between Bayern and Barcelona, that's probably where the title will be decided. I don't think there's any other teams out there that are stronger than Bayern and Barcelona. But the way I look at it is, first of all, the role of underdogs always suits us because I think that we have enough weapons to surprise a team. We might not be able to sustain it over the two legs, but I think that we could provide a little bit of surprise. The other thing is that I much rather lose to a Bayern than to lose to a Wolfsburg or to a Manchester City. Mm-hmm. So that's two ways that I look at it. Sergio, what'd you think of the draw, man?
I think it was kind of crappy, but let me tell you this: if it's either Bayern or playing on PlayStation, I'd rather be playing Bayern, to be honest with you, at this point, right? So, I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So whether you're beating them in the quarters, semis, or the finals, you got to eventually beat them. So, do we have a chance? I think we have a slight chance. I mean, you can't discount them. Now, everybody keeps thinking about the fact that they hammered Sporting and they hammered Porto. Two completely different teams. This is a different team. We're a different team. So, I mean, I think it's an advantage to be playing there first. You kind of go over the hump. If you can at least score an away goal and keep it close, if you lose 2-1, then you still have a chance coming back home and pulling the upset. That's the way I see it. You got to keep it close. Even if you lose 2-1 or 2-0, it's still close, and you can pull off an upset back at the Luge.
Yeah.
Is it going to be impossible? No. Is it probable? Probably not. But hey, at this point in time, we're just glad to be there, and no one's paying us any respect, and that's probably the way we want it, right? Because that's how sometimes surprises are pulled off. You know.
Cristiano, fala menino. Aí moleque.
I think he's got his mic muted. But one thing I
want
to.
Oh, you guys talk to me. Que foi?
Fala aí, moleque. Aí, moleque.
Aí, fala.
Fala lá, galera.
Sergio, I heard you.
O que você achou?
3-2, 1-0. Those are fairy tale numbers for me, bro. I mean, this is a very, very, very strong Bayern Munich team. I know they slacked off. They went to Torino and they scored 2 goals and then they went to sleep. Very fortunate not to be down 4-0 in the first half against Juventus at home. But when those guys turn it on, man, they turn it on. And they have so much firepower. It's nothing like Benfica's seen all year long. And it's going to be very tough. Yes, I would love for it to stay close, due to the fact that the first game's on the road. And, we have a chance to come back home. But, I mean, there's nothing more I would love for Benfica to pull off this shocker. There's nothing more I would love for Benfica to beat these Germans, dude. But let's just try to be realistic at once. It's going to be very tough, man. It's going to be very tough. You're right. The ball's around. 11 players on each side, but the quality of players that they have compared to ours is just, it's night and day. We have to play a perfect game in order to come away with just being down 1 goal, I think. I mean, we have to be perfect, and they have to be off. That being said, I'll still be watching. I'll be rooting as hard as ever. Praying to the soccer world, to the soccer gods, I should say, that we find a way to squeak one by them. And I mean, because if we could score over there, I mean, just scoring there, that would be tremendous.
That would be a massive boost of confidence.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's going to be very tough. It's going to be the two teams that did not want to face were Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But you know one thing about Bayern Munich? Munich is the type of team that they'll score 4 or 5, and they'll still keep going. And that's what scares me, man, because they like to put on a show. And you got Muller and those guys that love to stick it to anybody Portuguese because of their hatred for Ronaldo. It's just going to be a very, very tough outing for Benfica. But we'll see what happens. I mean, that's why they play the game, right?
Nelson.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out is their starting center back Jerome Boateng. I think he's injured. He's come out publicly and said he's not going to be playing. But I mean, that's just one puzzle piece in a beautiful mural of a football team that they have. They've got tons of different ways that they can hurt you. One thing that they're so dynamic at is you can put their players, any one of their players, in a variety of different positions, and they excel no matter where they're playing. That's what really makes them the most dangerous, besides being world beaters of themselves. And like Chris said, there's nothing more than I love than a good shocker. But it's going to be difficult to pull this one out, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard, but you never know. I mean, nobody really gave us a chance against Juventus, and we pulled it off. Of course, probably that Juventus team is not as strong as this Bayern team, which has been.
We beat them with 9. Let's be honest here. We need 11v11. We beat them with 9.
This Bayern team has been on top of Europe for quite some time now. I mean, year after year, and with the addition of Pep, they've become that much stronger. But, as my dad used to say, a bola redonda são 11 contra 11.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is directly related with European fixtures, and the Bayern actually falls right in after the Braga game, which, as we've mentioned here, falls on the 1st. As of right now, Braga pretty much has the 4th place wrapped up. I don't think they're going anywhere. So I think they're going to really turn their attention to Fenerbahce. Wait, it's not Fenerbahce. Sorry, Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Shakhtar. They play Shakhtar on Thursday. Sergio, do you see Braga resting some players against Benfica?
I don't think so. I think out of pride that they'll probably field their best squad. I see in the last game they rested Rafa. I think Rafa will be back, who is obviously their best player. I think they'll field a close enough starting 11 that's as strong as it can be. But if the game is at 1 or 2-0, they'll pull back. I think they'll pull back. Obviously, as you point out, there's not much to gain in the league this year, and their focus is obviously now turning to not only just the Europa League, but also Taça da Liga, and they have got Taça Portugal potentially. I think they're qualified for the final against Porto, haven't they? So I think their focus now is on those competitions. So you might be right. They might rest 1 or 2 players, but I expect them to still play with Hassan, Stojanovic, or whatever his name is, Rafa there on the wing. So I expect them to still have a full squad on Friday.
Yeah. The only thing, Nelson, here that kind of leads me to believe that perhaps they won't rest any players is the fact that we're playing the game on Friday and their game isn't until Thursday. So that's almost a week's rest.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Paulo Fonseca has done. He's pretty, like you said, he's pretty much got 4th place wrapped up. But with that, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you go in and you try and get more money through Europa League, give your club some more prestige, because you're kind of really done in the Portuguese league. I mean, they're really aspiring towards maybe Europa League next year again. So Porto's just a little bit too far away, and Porto still is going to play with pride. So with 4th place nearly wrapped up with only 7 games left, I think that we see it maybe as not as a strong Braga team as we would expect. Maybe some big names will be in there. Rafa's going to be in there. Marafona, who's been an excellent signing for them, coming over, he'll play too. But you may see 1 or 2 little tweaks that maybe just throws them off enough. I mean, we've seen our COG, 1 or 2 players, be okay for a switch out, but when we start switching out 5, 6 players like we saw the last game, we start to almost fall apart. It'd be really interesting to see what Paulo Fonseca does with his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Cristiano, what do you think? Do you think that Fonseca will rest some players?
He's done.
He's muted.
And keep in mind, Rafa didn't play on Sunday. He'll
Yeah.
probably. I don't know if he's gonna play in the Seleção. Was he called up for the Seleção?
No, he didn't get a call up.
So he's gonna be off virtually 3 weeks. So you gotta expect that he's gonna play on Friday against us at the Luge. So I mean, especially they don't want him to be cold to face Shakhtar Donetsk. So I expect, and I keep harping on Rafa because I truly believe the man is the best player not playing for one of the three grunge, and he won't be playing for Porto. I know there's a lot of rumors that he's going to go to Porto. They're going to sell him off to the highest bidder in either Spain or in England. He's gone.
They want a lot of money.
And just to add in, when Braga's getting ready to play Shakhtar Donetsk, Shakhtar Donetsk is very depleted. So they have no Fred because he was caught doping. They've sold on Alex Teixeira, and they're without Douglas Costa since last year. So they're no longer the multi-celled organism that they once are. They're really an amoeba kind of trying to find their shape. And it might be a little bit more difficult for them, who's going to come out full blast. Braga may kind of take advantage and really put a lot of eggs in that basket and trying to take advantage of a weakened Shakhtar.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to next topic, Renato Sanches being called up to the national team. I'll start with you, Sergio. Premature, or you think he earned it?
Well, it's about time considering the guy's 37 years old, right?
Might be too late now.
Am I right? Oh, you know what? I'm late to the game. I don't understand this whole controversy about him being registered at 5 years old. It must be a Portuguese thing because my mom wasn't registered until months later, anyways. I mean, who knows? But I don't know. I don't get it. But is it about time? I mean, he was a nobody, 3-4 months ago. So I think it's about time that he gets the recognition over the last 3 months that he's gained. I'm sure it's definitely giving Sporting Guistas a little bit of anxiety seeing so much put on this kid, so much hype on this kid, especially considering it's taking away from people like William Carvalho because they're obviously trying to sell him off at the end of the season. So it's about time and it's well earned. I'll tell you that much.
But he doesn't make the national team if Moutinho is healthy. Cristiano, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say about Renato. I think it's totally warranted. The dude deserves a call up. He's been one of the better players in the whole league, let alone Portuguese players. He absolutely deserves it. I thought when they called up Nelson Semedo and Guedes, if you guys recall, I was a little skeptical about it. I didn't think that they warranted after 9 games, and I thought it was too quick of a call up. I think Renato, the dude, has shown that he absolutely belongs amongst these, the bigger guys, amongst the older guys. He belongs with the big boys. There's nothing that the guy can't do on the field. He's an absolute monster. The kid's 18 years old or 27, whatever you want to say the kid is. The fact of the matter is that he's a guy out there, putting it all on the line in the first minute, and then it's the 97th minute, and the guy's still the hardest worker on the field. There's nothing you can take away from this kid. He absolutely deserves a call-up. He absolutely deserves a look because if this kid is, if he shows and he proves to everyone that he belongs amongst the big boys, this kid could be key for the Euro and going forward for Portugal. I mean, the kid absolutely deserves it.
Do you think he makes the 23 going to France, Cristiano?
I think if he keeps playing the way that he's been playing, unless he has a huge drop-off, there's absolutely no way that Fernando Santos could keep this kid off the team. I mean, the kid's an absolute machine. He struggles at times with his passing. He loses concentration. He needs to learn when he should go in, kamikaze. And he needs to learn when to take his foot off the pedal a little bit. But there's nothing that this kid, hasn't been able to prove to everyone. There's nothing that he hasn't been able to do on the field so far. He got his first start in the Champions League, played well. He pretty much had Hulk, one of the toughest, strongest, and quickest strikers throughout all of Europe. He had this dude in his back pocket. There's nothing that he hasn't been able to do on the field. So based on that alone, he absolutely deserves a look. There's other guys that will make the team because of what they did 4 years ago, because we know what Fernando Santos likes to do. This kid's doing it now. He absolutely deserves to be on this team. And I'm having a hard time not seeing him be a regular. I don't know about being in the starting 11, but he at least has to be involved in game day preparation. He has to be involved with coming off the bench because he adds a lot to this team. So I think he absolutely deserves to be on this team. I mean, there's not even a question in my mind.
And here's the thing that you mentioned, Cristiano, about Fernando Santos keeping the same guys. You got Eder, who scored 2 goals in a handful of appearances in England, and then you got the guy from Paços Ferreira who's scoring very well.
Let's just remember. Hold on, Eder was in England. He sucked. Now he's in France, and he still sucks. But go ahead, keep going. Just wanted to correct you on that.
You got the guy from the forward from Paços Ferreira, whose name escapes me now.
Diogo Jota.
No, the other guy. It's another
guy.
No,
the other guy. Yeah, Moreira, something Moreira.
Moreira, yeah. He's been scoring, and he doesn't get a look.
Look, man, I'm sitting in the car right now with a Greek dude, okay? And he swears to me every single day that we talk about the Portuguese national team. He swears to me that they'll at least be in the finals because he's seen what Fernando Santos could do with that team. And the one thing, when I mentioned to him about Renato, he told me, he's like, dude, don't expect that kid to play much. Fernando Santos, all he does is play all bastards. Supposedly he had a guy in Greece. And then again, it's Greece, guys. Let's I'm messing with you, kid. He had a guy in Greece that scored like 28 goals. And he had, I believe it was Mitroglou, right? Was it Mitroglou? Yeah, it was Mitroglou, who hadn't played like a year and a half due to injuries. And he called up Mitroglou over the young kid. And then Mitroglou, pretty much shit the bed in a competition. But yeah, he's a firm believer that Fernando Santos. Oh, it was the World Cup? Okay, he's a firm believer that Fernando Santos will go with the veterans, with the old guard. But I just think that Renato, the kid's too talented and too good not to play. I know everyone's in love with the William Carvalhos of the world and stuff like that, and I'm not saying he should play over William. All I'm saying is that he absolutely deserves to play because he is a beast.
Only on Benfica podcast will Cristiano have somebody in his car with Greek experience that will help out the topic. Only on the Benfica podcast.
And I got a German next to me, but he's more into like table tennis and stuff like that. He's not that big of a soccer fan, so I can't really get his input on soccer. All he says, he remembers a 7-1. That's all he remembers. He doesn't know anything else. Just 7-1.
If you guys want to talk about Juve, I'll call you down. Sock, come down here. Talk about Italian national team soccer.
All right. I think that's about it. I think that he definitely warrants a call-up to get at least a look. But I don't think he'll be in the 23rd. I do think he will be in Brazil.
Hold on.
He will be in Brazil.
Let's be honest. All joking aside, man. Okay, I know I like to mess around a lot, but let's be honest, guys. All three of you got any of the three, I should say. You guys even have a doubt in your mind that Renato doesn't have a place on this team, on the Portuguese national team going into the Euro? Is there like a question in your mind? I mean, because to me it's cemented. I mean, the kid absolutely deserves to be there. You can't name me 23 better Portuguese players at the moment.
Cristiano, I'll tell you this: if Thiago is healthy and if João Moutinho is healthy, he's not going.
Yeah.
Why can't he go? I mean, listen, you want to tell me
how many eights are you going to carry, bro?
You still have to carry. Look, you still have to carry because
you still got Adrian.
And forget Adrian, man. You got Gomes, whatever his name is, Thiago Gomes or whatever.
Nun Gomes.
Not
Andre Gomes.
Andre Gomes. Look. You bring up a good point. If those guys are healthy, they will most likely play over him. All I'm saying is that he's in one of the 23. He has to be.
He's not.
He has to be. He has not only do I think he could add to the squad this summer. This is also a confidence builder. This is a move for the future. This is a kid that's going to be on.
I'm telling you, he muted himself as he was so excited about what he was saying.
Dropped off.
Yeah, I think that if João Moutinho, if Thiago, if André Gomes are healthy, they all play ahead of him.
You're right, but I think
because the kid is. I'm not saying he's not talented. I just think that the experience counts a lot for that position on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
It will, and we've seen, in all honesty, I mean, we've seen Adrian get snubbed for a tremendous amount of time, and the guy, for being a Sportingista, he is a good leader on the pitch, And for him not to make the field and to kind of almost get snubbed for Renato would almost be an injustice to him. But let's be fair.
Bruno de Carvalho's head explode. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, if it was up to Bruno Carvalho, we'd field 11 Sporting players and we'd just naturalize Lamani if we could. But really, I mean, when I think of Renato, I think of a guy who can come in the 75th minute, in the 70th minute, and the guy when I see him play gives me two words, and that word is game changer. The guy is just an absolute machine, and you see him because he plays as an 18-year-old. Because he is an 18-year-old, we think. But we think he's an 18-year-old, and that's what his maybe license says. But he has no fear. He doesn't know how to turn his motor off. And he'll learn that as he gets older, but that's almost kind of playing with the fearlessness, which is excellent.
He's not bullied. He doesn't let himself get bullied by older players.
Yeah, he doesn't fear that. Yeah, he doesn't fear that. And you see other guys who might get yellowed and cautioned earlier and play with a little bit different tempo and a different demeanor, and he doesn't. He plays with the same high motor no matter what. It's just I remember when we were watching just the Boavista game this weekend. It was the 88th, 85th minute, and there was a Boavista player offsides, and Renato's tracking back behind all the defenders.
He absolutely annihilates the guy.
He annihilates the guy, picks up the ball, and brings it back for a free kick. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's the kind of just machine that we need. But I think he's
developing an edge too. Did you just notice at the end of the first half how he was up on that guy, and I think it was Emmanuel or Ruben.
Yeah, they kept fighting. Yeah, they kept fighting. Emmanuel kind of slapped him around a couple of times.
Yeah.
Hands to the face. Look, man. The kid deserves to be on this team. That's all I know. I don't want to hear about no Romerels or I don't want to hear nothing like that. The kid absolutely deserves.
This guy's just Romerels.
Where there's Romerels is in contract negotiations with Sporting.
That's right. Bring him back. We know how Jorge Jesus loves like 35-year-old guys. He loves to bring him in. Yeah. He brought in Barcos and he brought in os Bruno Cesars of the world, and this guy contracts.
Leave him alone, bro. I'm sick of mandar foguetes, pá. I'm sick of mandar foguetes. Deixa o gajo ir, pá. But look. Renato is a máquina. Smithu should get a look. Should absolutely get a look on the team. I mean, obviously his form has dropped ever since his injury. Guedes, go back and get ready for the Olympic team, if anything. Yeah. I mean, Renato, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying before, I dropped the call. Not only do I think he deserves to be there now, but like I was saying, this is a move for the future. Give the kid some experience. Let the kid get to these big competitions. So like that next time he's there, he doesn't look like a deer in the headlights. He listen. There might be a couple of players at the same position with better ball skills, but not many right now are playing better than he is at the current time. The kid absolutely deserves to be there, man. I know I've said absolutely like 50 times since I started talking about him, but it's just the way I feel. He deserves a spot on the team based on his form. I think he adds a lot. We don't really have a midfielder that runs like him. Not one. I mean, Danilo's good. Very, very solid player, very good player at that position. William Carvalho is another beast, but no way does he have the same agility and speed and movement that Renato does. Same thing with Adrian. Moutinho might run around as much, but nowhere near the strength that this kid has. Gomes is a good player, a little bit more technically gifted, nowhere near the strength and the bruteness that this kid has. I mean, this kid could be a game changer, at least off the bench. Yeah. Different pace, a guy that could go in there and disrupt things for the opposition. He deserves to be on this team, guys. I mean, he's the best midfielder on the team that's in first place in Portugal. You can't tell me that does not warrant a call up to the national team.
Yeah, he's an absolute bull in a china shop when it comes to taking guys on.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to talk more about the national team as the Euro approaches and the season dies down. But I agree with Cristiano. But the thing is that with the way Renato Sanches is, it doesn't seem to me that he'll make it in. But you never know. Turning our attention to some Twitter questions. Kyle Chaves. Who do you guys think is Benfica's all-time greatest goalkeeper in Benfica's history?
I go first?
Go ahead.
Preludom. Do you hear that? Preudom.
Perdão.
Yeah.
Sérgio.
Who said that? Who said that? Who
Nelson.
said that? Nelson, tu vai dar banhocão, meu. Tu andas com uma pancada do cara. É pá, tu. Ai, Jesus. Yo, perdão. I'm gonna let. Go ahead. No, what's your name? Sergio. Sergio, you answer.
Yes,
go ahead.
sir.
Then I'll go on the rant. Go ahead. Vai lá.
Okay, so you know what? I only saw him a couple times because it's probably 5, 6 years old. Manuel Bento.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I mean,
to me,
because-
yeah, it was a huge loss.
Because you know what? The only reason I say that is because my dad used to harp about this guy all the time in the '80s, right? So my dad loved listening on the radio. We didn't have access to satellite and friggin'
Tinha
Twitter of the world.
o relato com o
Pois.
culminho na antena, meu, para aquilo
Asas do Atlântico, meu amigo. That's it.
Come on.
Toca nada. And that's all we used to listen to. But my dad loved Manuel Bento.
Come on,
He
Yeah.
loved him.
Listen, anyone that knows anything about Benfica
Oh, yeah.
says, and says, I'm sorry, I don't feel like disrespect, man. It's the God's honest truth. Anyone that knows anything about Benfica and says anyone else but Manuel Bento is the best goalkeeper in Benfica history, smoking crack.
Oh, man.
Perdomo was a brilliant and probably overall a better goalkeeper than Manuel Bento. Not taking it away from him,
Yeah.
but at Benfica, we're talking about
The
at
legacy.
Benfica.
You got
We're
legacy.
forget the legacy. The question is, who's Benfica's the best goal in Benfica history?
Well, Bento's got the huge legacy. That's what I'm talking about.
I agree, but it's about what you've done for the club. Okay, Perdomo did nothing. He finished in 6th place and 4th place. I mean, tremendous goalkeeper. But as far as what they've done for the team, Bento, you guys can have a lot when it was still black and white with Eusebio. I don't know his name, but that guy will definitely be in a conversation as well. But
Yeah.
it's Bento, and then everyone else follows, man. I mean, Perdomo, the dude won the goalkeeper of the year, the best goalkeeper in the world award, and then he signed with Benfica the following month or whatever it was, which at the time it didn't feel real. I'm like, am I really witnessing this? I mean, is this guy really signing for Benfica? Like, what the, a head scratcher. Like, so many other clubs, but hey, he chose Benfica, and I'm thankful for it. The guy was a tremendous goalkeeper. We finished in 6th and 4th, thanks to him, because we probably finished in 12th. But as far as for Benfica, the best goalkeeper in Benfica history, Manuel Bento, we got that, que era uma máquina.
Yeah. Here's one from
Wait,
our.
who do you think, Alfredo?
No,
You're like a Benfica encyclopedia.
I'm with you. I think for me, at least in my lifetime, Bento's got to be up there, and I think the guy from there was a guy, and we see him all the time on Benfica TV, commentating. I forget his name, and I should know his name. And Peggy, I'm sure he knows his name. But there was a goalkeeper from the times of Eusebio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That guy. Pereira, Costa Pereira.
Costa Pereira, yeah. Costa
Yo, that's
Pereira,
what I
something
do,
like
man.
that.
We talk about Peggy. Peggy, vai dormir. I got this.
I got one of our homeboys from the Three Tugas podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, please check that out. Those guys are funny. He's asking if Ederson loses his place when if Julio Cesar comes back. What do you think, Cristiano?
Absolutely. I mean, the kid's done well. The kid's been really solid, and it's not a terrible question because I actually thought about that over the weekend. I said, man, Ederson's been real good, but still, the experience,
He's an understudy.
the leadership that JC brings to the field. He's like a coach out on the field. The guy, he's been through it all, calms everyone down. And let's be honest. I mean, the guy's still playing at a very, very high level. I can understand if he dipped in form a little bit. Yeah, okay, Ederson hasn't really done anything to warrant losing his position. I'm not saying that he should bench him based on his play because he's been terrific. But I also believe that you shouldn't lose your spot due to injury. And JC, he's the guy's quality, man. He's quality, great leader, type of guy you want on your team.
Yeah.
I think that Ederson has been true to himself. And I read an interview with him that he works hard every day and he tries to learn as much from Julio Cesar and Paulo Lopes. And he's worked hard that when his opportunity comes, if by any reason it comes, that he's ready to go. And I think that he's very happy with the understudy role. And he knows that probably Julio Cesar probably has 1-2 more years in him. And then after that, he's going to be the guy, especially from the displays that we've seen from him now that he stepped in for Julio Cesar in Julio Cesar's injury. Sergio, for you, same thing, no doubt about it?
Same thing. I mean, look at the lifespan of a goalkeeper compared to an outfield player. He's got plenty of years ahead of him, so I don't think he's going to be upset at one iota to give up that spot to Julio Cesar. Julio Cesar is probably a legend in his eyes, so...
Hey, as long as you don't keep loaning him out, then he will stay with Benfica, not like Oblak, right?
That's right, exactly. So I think it's a different situation here. Like you guys said, we're talking about Julio Cesar. We're not talking about Artur. So you're confident in giving the net back to Julio Cesar versus giving up Oblak.
Opa, o nome do gajo é Julio Cesar, not Julio Cesar. Yo, português, caralho.
Julio Cesar. Okay.
And I think that's about it.
That's it. That's all the questions.
Kevin Millar suggests that we give the Bayern players some caldereta picante right before the game at the Luz.
Uma caldeirada em guias, meu.
And Kevin, I would answer your question, but I believe that Timo has already answered. What determines the winner of the league if first and second place are tied on points, and the first tiebreaker is head to head, and then it goes to I think goal differential.
Really, you do? Yo, you guys 100% sure about it? Because I just had the biggest discussion.
Yeah, it's head to head.
It is. It's
That's
head to
what
head and then goal
I was
differential.
saying, head to head, and then with the Lagartos over the weekend watching the Boavista game.
All you have to do is ask Siri. It would have been good.
Siri não fala português, pá.
Fala.
Fala português, moleque.
Manuela.
O cara não faz mais pergunta, não? O cara calou aí, cara.
I think that's all you got, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for everybody for checking us out and watching us live on YouTube. Always, every Tuesday, bringing you the freshest and latest Benfica news with Cristiano in a car or in the ocean or wherever he decides to be.
Hitting cyclists, who knows?
Always a presence. Yelling at people for smoking and yelling at people to get out of the way as he's driving.
Cristiano's the only guy I know who can run a podcast while he's running his second job as an Uber driver.
Uber drivers are hated, bro. Yeah, I do tend to spend a lot of time in my car. You guys are right, but because I keep it moving, and I do what I have to do to get on the Benfica podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to come out here and educate all you. I mean, did I say that out loud? Damn. No. It's an absolute pleasure to come out every week and chit chat with you guys. You guys do a tremendous job.
Not like some other guys.
Yeah, some other guys. I was a little upset today. You Benfiquistas are soft. Like 2 questions. I mean, come on, guys. I expect a lot better than that. Timo, you're slacking. Meg, that's a little me. Stephanie, it's your birthday. Go get drunk. But you can still ask the question. Yeah, just disappointed in you guys today. But it's just terrific to be here week in, week out.
Yeah.
We're looking to we're going to try to get a player on one of these days just so I could chit-chat back and forth with the guys.
As far as I'm concerned, we have you on. That's good enough. Exato, man.
How about this for a question? What do you guys think is going to be more difficult, away to Rio Ave or away to Académica?
Away to Rio Ave.
Yeah.
Rio Ave's played well. Rio Ave actually went through a stretch where they were in the upper echelon of the table.
Mm-hmm.
They played really well. I know they dropped off a little bit, but I know at home they're very, very tough. I mean, guys, let's be realistic. Every single one of these games is going to be very tough.
Yeah.
For the same reasons that we touch on week in, week out, which is everyone knows that all of Portugal will be watching. This is the game that your mother, your father, your father's friends, tua tia, tua bisavó, everybody be tuned into the TV to watch Benfica. It's going to be... It's going to go down to the wire, guys. It's really going to go down to the wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Académica is 17th, Rio Ave is 6th, so that's...
No, I know you're going to say that, and I was thinking, okay, well, they're fighting for points for survival, plus it's smack in the middle between the Bayern games.
That's a good shout.
So you don't know.
Well, I think that traditionally Coimbra has been a very Benfica favored town. So is
those Porto. Look at Hubble Portal. What was it?
Yeah.
22,000 fans.
I
All
think
majority Benfiquistas.
I think it'll be hard to contain the red wave going forward, especially after a highly emotional win at Boavista.
Este país é vermelho, caralho.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge we may really face in the short-term future is the first game away in Germany, because a 1-0 loss is significantly different than a 3 or 4-0 loss. I mean, that really may harp on player morale, and that's I think going to be the.
I see what you're saying. Not
a 1-0 loss as for Bayern or 4-0.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because there are some people that said that after Porto lost to Bayern last season, that's when they decline started.
That was a tremendous collapse.
Yeah, they couldn't make the push towards the end.
Yeah, mentally that's going to be very taxing, and you're still in first place coming back, but to get over a hump of like a 3 or 4-0 defeat, especially if it depends on what our squad looks like, if we're still as depleted as we have been recently.
I think that Rui Vitória prepares the players well mentally.
Mm-hmm.
So, however it shakes out to be the 2 games against Bayern, I think that the team will be prepared for it. Sergio.
Yes, sir.
Your Twitter and your shirts, shirt web.
Sergio R_81. My shirts, those ones right there, is Benfica.spreadshirt.com, and I've added a bunch of new ones on there.
Olha pra lata deste guy.
Sergio, how are they? Let me ask you this: 2 questions? How are they selling, and why haven't Cristiano and I gotten one?
Olha pra lata desse guys. Vem aqui fazer reclama a camisola.
Why hasn't Nelson
sample
as well?
Just for that, o senhor Cristiano vai receber que diga King Julio. I'll get you a neat sleep Benfica repeat shirt on the house. That's not a problem. They're doing well. They're actually doing well. I'm hoping the sales pick up after we win the 3rd title.
There you go. Then you have to come up with new new things.
New slogans. Oh, I'm out my
Sergio,
head.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are 3 people on this podcast, not including yourself. So. Okay. Very good.
Nelson, your Twitter, bro.
My Twitter is NelsonL08, and my shirt is a DuckTales shirt, and that's available at Target.com.
At 10CO10 is where you can find Cristiano on Twitter. Benfica Podcast is the Twitter for the podcast. At Talking to the Doll is my personal one. Cristiano, diz adeus aos senhores.
Fala, galera. Foi prazer falar com a gente aqui hoje. Você sabe falar futebol. Vai no Twitter e fala com a gente lá. Pergunta, você quer perguntar, você sabe. A molecada vai falar com você. Falou, cara.
You almost sound like Jonas.
No, have you ever heard Jonas talk? Foi uma boa jogada. Jogamos aqui para a vitória hoje. Para a jogada hoje. Foi muito bom que chegamos aqui à seleção. E foi prazer jogar aqui para o Benfica.
Yeah, you got a guy whose nickname is Pistolas, and then when you hear him speak, he's like the softest spoken guy that you'll ever hear.
He is. You think he's all Tomcat and he's all Jerry Mouse, man.
All right, guys. Cristiano, always a pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure is mine, man.
I'll talk to you guys. Next week. We'll be back. I'm hoping to have a special guest next week. It won't be a player, I can tell you that much, but I'm in conversations with a special guest that will come and
negotiations.
Give us some stories. Give us some stories about Benfica.
I gotta get a haircut.
Yeah, that's all I got. PlanetBenfica.co.uk, and that's it. Thanks a lot for checking us out, and we'll speak to you again next week. See you, everybody.
Viu o Benfica?
Easy peasy.